My name is Nero. I was born on December 15th, 37 AD in Antium. I was named Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus at birth. I'm the only son of my parents Gnaeus Domitius Ahenobarbus, my father, and Agrippina the younger, my mother. My mother is the daughter of Germanicus and the great-granddaughter of Emperor Augustus, sister to Emperor Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, more popularly known as Caligula, and niece of Tiberius Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, more popularly known as Claudius. When I was 2, my uncle Caligula banished my family to the Palatine Islands. After my mother and her sisters were implicated in the Lepidus Gaetulicus conspiracy of 39 AD. A year later, my father died, and Caligula seized my inheritance. In early 41 AD, Cassius accosted Caligula as he spoke to young men. My uncle Caligula was assassinated, and my mother's uncle Claudius took over as emperor of the Roman Empire. Great-uncle Claudius brought my mother and me back from exile. He arranged for me to study under the great philosopher Lucius Annaeus Seneca. After Claudius's third wife died, he married my mother, his niece. My mother convinced Claudius to adopt me, placing me in line as the next heir to the throne, in front of Claudius's biological son, Britannicus, who is younger than me. My mother murdered Claudius in 54 AD by putting poison in his mushrooms. I became the youngest emperor at the young age of 17. I was too young to rule my own, so my mother acted as regent. She tried to wield much power. She had her head placed on coins along with mine. Britannicus died at my dinner party on the 12th of February, 55 AD, the day before he would be old enough to take the throne. Many accused me of killing my brother to prevent my mother from following through on her plans to take me out of power and to have young Britannicus take over as emperor. It was clear my mother knew she could control Britannicus, but could no longer control me. In time, I no longer trusted my old advisors or my mother. I tried several times to kill my mother, including trying to kill her by poisoning, by crushing her head in her bed, and by having her killed by shipwreck, but she managed to swim ashore. I finally succeeded when I had her clubbed and stabbed to death in 59 AD. In 53 AD, I married my stepsister, Claudia Octavia. Within 2 years, I grew bored of Claudia and began an affair with Claudia Acte. I divorced my wife and banished her, but had to bring her back from exile when the public protested. In the end, I got my way as I kicked my pregnant ex-wife to death. The Great Fire of Rome started in the evening of July 18th, 64 AD. The fire caused widespread devastation and took 6 days to control. I helped with the rescue effort and even used my own money to help pay for rebuilding Rome. I opened my palaces to the homeless. To prevent starvation, I ordered the delivery of food supplies. I immediately began a public relief effort and began rebuilding Rome. I instructed that houses be built of brick and be spaced further apart to reduce the risk of future fires. Some have labeled me the first Antichrist just because I like to brutally persecute Christians. Who doesn't think it is beautiful to enjoy a late-night stroll in my elaborate gardens by the light of burning Christians? I also enjoyed throwing Christians to lions and dogs and watched them be torn to shreds. You who listen to those historians who see me as deranged just don't like a winner. I went to Greece in 67 AD to compete in the Olympics and prove Roman dominance. I competed in chariot racing and won. I have the honor of being the most successful competitor since the games began. I was awarded 1,808 olive wreaths. I also performed in the theater, sang while playing the lyre, and recited poetry. While I was away, Rome began to experience a food shortage, and the Senate turned against me and condemned me to be flogged to death. When I learned of the plan, I thwarted it by committing suicide. I said, "Qualis artifex perio," when an artist the world loses in me. And with the aid of my secretary, Epaphroditus, on June 9th, 68 AD, I died. I died the fifth and final Roman emperor of the Julio-Claudian dynasty. Ouch, ouch. Ow, ouch.
Tell the class that Nero was good, as he canceled some unpopular taxes, threw big public feasts, courted the Senate, and proclaimed an end to show trials and midnight disappearances. All those other things he did were not so bad.
Tell the class that Nero was a terrible sinner who brought back treason trials. He had an immoral relationship with his mother and then had her killed. He frequented brothels, he scapegoated Christians, and he killed his pregnant wife, just to name a few of the horrible things he did.